Welcome to BatchTV. My name is Mychelle, and in these videos, my main mission is to bring you insider tips and tricks on how to grow your real estate business. So some of you may be wondering, what is a list and tag? So a list and tag is essentially an organizational tool in BatchLeads that helps you electronically file, store, manage, and track all of your property leads. Think of them as kind of like a filing cabinet or a file folder within your system. So we're going to go ahead and dive in and take a look at how to best organize your data, how to use lists and tags, and understanding why it's important to also organize your data. So next, we need to understand why it's important to effectively store and manage and organize all of our data using lists and tags. So with lists and tags, it can really help you track deals that you've closed. So that way you can get a better idea of what's working in your market and what's working for your business. You can just track back to see where that list came from. We can see what specific list it came from, what specific market, all of the different motivations that came with that lead. You can also see when you got that lead, when you pulled that list. Another reason why it's so important to manage your lists and tags is because as you continue to scale and grow your business, you want to make sure that everything is set up in an organized way. So that way, when you start working with more leads and more properties and more deals, it's not going to be an organizational disaster. It may be fine in the beginning to not really focus on the organizational side of things, but once you start growing your business, it can be a nightmare if you don't have systems set up. Another really great reason for utilizing lists and tags is so that way when you start building your team, you can start delegating tasks and they can step right in and know exactly how your business works. So it helps make you duplicatable, and that in turn is going to help your business scale and grow. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into BatchLeads, and I'm going to show you just where you can create lists and tags, when you want to, and just different ways that you can use them for just different ideas for organizing your properties. So there are a few different ways. The first way is in your properties tab. When you're importing a list here, you're going to do either a single property or a bulk import. When you're importing a list and you're doing a bulk import, this is where you're going to upload your list. You're going to map it out. Okay, so you're going to map out the property address, any other fields from that Excel spreadsheet. We go over that in a totally different video. But selecting lists and tags, this is where you're going to organize this list. And like I said, you're going to electronically file it away. So you want to be kind of strategic with this. You want to ask yourself, okay, what type of list am I filing into my system? Is it high equity? Is it a code violations list? Is it tired landlords? Is it pre-foreclosure? So you're going to think like, what category is this going to go under? Now you can see in my system, I have all of these, what I call master lists, or my filing cabinets for these types of files that I'm uploading. So you can see I have one list for code violation, I have one list for driving for dollars, pre-foreclosures, high equity, and so on. So let's say this is a high equity list. I'm going to file it away in my high equity filing cabinet, and then I'm going to assign a tag. And you can add as many tags as you want, but what I like to do for the tags is I like to say, where this list came from, just the details of the file that I'm importing. So again, think of the high equity list as the filing cabinet, and now the tag is going to be that file folder that holds this specific file. So we're gonna say this is, let's say this is Mesa, Arizona. That's where it came from. And then we can put high equity, and you can put other details too. Maybe this was also high equity tax defaults. All right. And then you're going to put today's date, because I want to track when I imported this into the system. And you can put any other details that are going to remind you exactly what's on this list, but essentially we are tagging it. So we're putting it in that file folder. So that way I can go straight to this tag. I can pull this list out at any time, and I know exactly where it came from, what it is, and when I imported it into my system. You can also leave a detailed tag description here too for you, if you'd like. We're going to hit done, and then we are just going to upload that and file it away in our system. So now when I go back to my properties, I can filter out that file. So I can click filter, and I can search it by multiple ways. So I'm going to search by the tag name or the file folder name, and I can search by high equity, and I can see all of the different high equity lists that I have in my system. I can search by the area, so Mesa, right? And then here are all of my Mesa, Arizona lists. Or now, since I put the date in the tag name, I can also search by the date. So there is the file that we imported into the system. And then I'm just going to click apply filter. And then now we are looking at this list right now. And it's probably still uploading. So that is how you can import a bulk file. Now, let's say I wanted to add this property to a different list or tag. Maybe I called Jesus and, I found out, or maybe like we opened up the profile and we found out it was in pre-foreclosure, or maybe it's vacant, or it looks like it's a tired landlord too. Like, see, look, it's 26 years and 4 months old. So therefore it's a tired landlord. Maybe we're on the phone with him and we find out that he is going through a divorce or something. What we can do is we can also add him to lists later on. So as we start gathering more information, we can add more tags, we can add it to more lists. And so what you're going to do is just select this property, go actions, lists, and then I can, like, let's go with the fact maybe he's going through a divorce right now. So I can put him on my divorce list, if I even have one, or maybe liens list or whatever. Okay, so maybe I'm going to start creating that list. Okay. And then we can now add that property there. So what this does is it really helps you track and see what's going on with this property. So I can also see that this specific property belongs to other lists as well within my system, and we can view them all. So when I'm on the phone with him, and maybe I just thought I was calling a high equity list, right? And when I get on the phone with him, I can see, oh my gosh, he also has code violations on here. I imported that on the 30th of January. The high equity list that we're calling right now, that we just imported today, he also came from a tax default list, tired landlords, and free and clear. So I know when I'm on the phone with him, I have so much information, you guys, and I would have never known that he was on all of these other lists if it was just sitting on my computer. So again, as you start growing your team as well, and you start having people cold call for you or start running your text campaigns, they're going to be able to see all of this information too. And it's just really great for, just really understanding your data and getting the most out of it. Now with tags, you can use tags in so many different ways. Again, think of it as a file folder, or I also like to use them to track how much I've communicated with this person. So I can see how many times I've texted this person because I'll tag them before I push them into a text campaign. Or I can see how many times I've called this person. So it's totally up to you how you want to use tags. But let's say we were calling this list. What I would do is I would select these 50 people that I'm about ready to call, and I would add a tag, right? Just because I want to know how many touches I did before I closed this deal. And then I'm just going to select an existing tag. We're going to use called, okay? And then I'm just going to tag all of these because I'm going to run through and call them really quick. Or I can go actions and, when I add it to a text campaign, it's going to prompt you to tag that list. I would tag it that I'm texting them today. So that way I have that on record. I have that on file. So that's another really great way to do that because now I can use that tag and I can actually exclude anybody that I've ever called from a list if I want to see the leads that have never been called before. So I'll show you how to do that really quick. Okay, so I just reset my filters here. So we're looking at all of my data. I have 218,000 properties in my system. And so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use tags to exclude people. So let's say I don't wanna call these people again, or I don't wanna text these people. I just wanna know what leads in my system have never been touched before. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go up to filter and I'm gonna go under tags, excluded. And I'm going to exclude called, and texted. And so now it's going to pull anybody that has that tag associated with their profile out of this list. And now I'm going to apply that filter. So remember, we had 218,000 properties. Now I have 192,000 properties that we're looking at that have never been called and they've never been texted. So I know that these are all free game still. So that is how you can effectively use tags to exclude certain information. You can also use lists to exclude certain information as well. As you can see, we have an excluded section under lists. So let's say I want to exclude my skip traced list from a search because it's my master skip trace list, but it's not really a pain point. So I'm just going to exclude that from the search, and then you'll see here that it kind of blanks it out right here. So it's only going to cross-reference, whatever information I'd like. But maybe I want to use lists in a way where I only want to search between high equity and pre-foreclosures. What we're going to do is just select pre-foreclosure and high equity. And then I'm going to search just exclusively within these two sections, okay? I'm going to slide this list count. So I want to know which properties are on both of these lists, not just in one or the other. So we're going to say, show me properties that are in exclusively in both of these lists. All right. So I have pulled 9,400 properties that are on both of those lists exclusively. So we can go ahead and click here. So we can see here, this property is in fact on pre-foreclosures and those high equity lists. So now I know that I have about 9,400 properties to work with that are not only high equity, but also pre-foreclosure in my system where I filed them. Okay, so now that we've gone over lists and tags, you can obviously see how creative you can be. I've shown you our method to our madness here, but obviously you can use lists and tags however you want. Just think very critically on how you want to organize your data. Do you want to organize it by the types of lists you're importing, maybe by the places if you're working in multiple markets? So obviously there are so many ways that you can utilize lists and tags to organize your properties, your communication styles, okay? You can include and stack different lists. You can also exclude tags and lists from your searches. It really just helps you find what you're looking for within your data, especially when you start working with hundreds of thousands of leads. You're going to want that to be organized. Obviously, this is just one of the many ways that you can utilize lists and tags. If you want to see someone pull a list, upload it live, contact it, definitely tune into RJ Bates's show on our BatchTV channel. He definitely goes through the entire process and shows you his method to his madness. So always good to see how someone else does things so that way you can get ideas. But you are going to learn as you go, and you're going to figure out what works best for your market and for your business. But definitely start thinking of these things as you start importing your lists into BatchLeads, because it's better to be organized at the beginning rather than trying to organize things later on. Thank you so much for joining us today on BatchTV. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you can see future videos from us.